want to introduce or something, say something to?
The technical parts are arranged. I think they will not make any problems. So we must decide now. And again, like yesterday, the talk that we have is totally spontaneous, so that we can come most directly into what is really important in this time. I will say we are not prepared.
As yesterday, everything is spontaneous, because this scheme of work is an experience for us, really. And I would say that I found, by good fortune, a proper and good partner to come to this dialogue, because we don't think beforehand, but what we will be saying here is the result of our investigation during the lifetime. And all will be live, all will be spontaneous. Yeah. Good.
And because you are also here, you are also part of this spontaneous event. So you are trying to be all the time in spiritual contact with every one of you.
And the results will depend upon your participation in the level of consciousness, meaning following up on the dialogue here and being attentive to what is happening, it will happen. Okay.
So we must start the theme. So I think it would be good to choose, according to the title of these events in these days, science, modern science and peace and spirituality. How can we look at both, at Eastern spirituality and at science in fresh way? Fresh way, that means from our deepest experience, not from books, where books are overserved perhaps. One must read quite a lot of books to meditate on them and so on. But that basic experience of reality, of truth, must come from one's own meditative experience. So we cannot get what one should do in modern time from books or from some authorities. All the things are of great help, but let's shed a fresh look on this question. Only maybe a few words. So the modern world is in a great turmoil. Great changes are going all around all of us. We know this. That is true for spiritual research. That is true for science. About science, we know quite a lot. What is doing in the realm of science. There are many problems in science just because science has. That mainstream of modern science does not have very close contact with spiritual exploration, and there is still a great split, and we want to heal this split. Because there is this split, because there is this separation, science has become too much a slave to modern economy, to financial systems and so on. And this is very, very dangerous. So it's extremely important to bring back also into science this spiritual approach, and from the other side, it was always so that true spiritual research, exploration, was always following also what is very important in science, following the truth. Respect of truth. So science and spiritual exploration have the same origin. So maybe from my own standpoint, I could say this for introduction.
I think that every observer can say this thing. It is undeniable that the human nature has been completely forgotten in the whole enterprise of research. Research in, I would say, fundamental science or applied science. The human nature, the human status has been forgotten completely. And this is the starting point of our bad fortune, meaning that we do not carry in our concern, as a concern, the human being first. Disciplines at university, at any academy, would focus on the discipline and not on the human side. Meaning that we come to this fact, very unfortunate, and it is a little bit, I would say, dramatic, that many physicians try to cure diseases, but not the human, the sick humans. So talk about diseases and this and that, and then try to overcome a disease, but not a disease linked with the human, meaning seek the happiness and the good health for the human beings. So the same, I would say the same problem is repeated on every level and for every discipline. I mean that if we are searching for something, we don't have in mind this is for the happiness of the human beings. We want to know more and more, and stretch out all, enlarge the field of knowledge, and then knowledge then has become a burden for us instead of freeing us. Normally, knowledge at the top of it should be distillated into this kind, what we call the superior knowledge, which is wisdom. And wisdom always frees the mind, frees the state of imprisonment of the human mind. And now the knowledge came to the point that it does not liberate. It imprisons more and more, because we are victim of a kind of set of knowledge, and the set of knowledge has become more and more burden for human life, adding to the weight of the ego. For the seers in the past, I mean in the Eastern world, to know should lead to a kind of wise attitude in life. And knowledge was not meant to be a kind of means for power. It is absolutely in the mind of Westerners, it turned out to be a paradox. To know is not to be powerful. It can give power, it can give, but in the core of it, the knower has a wise attitude in a way that the knowing should lead the human mind first to liberate himself or herself, and then lead also the attitude to help the others to liberate them, to free them from their own prison. Now the situation is that modern science has contributed a lot into the field of knowledge. Now everyone can know that the Earth is no longer the center of the solar system. We know it now. We know also how the Earth functions. We know also that we are really a grain of dust in the universe, in space. We know many, many things. Now the next step should be how to make use of, in inverted commas, how to make use of those knowledge, so that we could make the happiness of everyone. and not just have the pleasure of knowing things more than others. So the step is that this is why we discussed a little bit yesterday and today. We try to find out the way of thinking and apply to make it an attitude in life, so that knowledge should not be a burden. Knowledge should be a means not for power, but a means to liberate oneself, to free oneself. And this is the combination of science and philosophy and the wisdom of the philosophy in the Eastern world, so that we should combine, because one discipline is not enough. The mind wants to know more and more. So the more and more should be, I would say, managed in a way that the more and more should not be completely endless and ending in nowhere, as we have seen with the field of logics. They ended somewhere and no, it is nowhere. Yes.
So we are speaking about the so-called holistic approach. Holism has become quite a modern term. So it's something quite similar for what is going on in the mainstream research, mainstream science. Mainstream science, what are they doing? These scientists, specialists. Specialists, for them, the final goal is to know everything about nothing. And
this is an expert. This is the definition of an expert.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so they cannot merge this knowledge of nothing with knowledge of other nothings. And so it's quite impossible from that final point to get into some holiness, back to holiness. So one must stop already before that final point, and so one should be aware already much before how to act, how to work, function. So to be all the time, in every moment, aware of the holiness of our life, of all the beings that we can see, that we know, of all the universe at the end, but especially our Earth, because we are responsible for our Earth. Now we are much more responsible than 100 years ago, because we have this power now, power that was given to us by science, technology and so on. We can destroy the Earth now with our modern technology, not only with atomic bombs, but also with pollution and so on, with global heating. In many ways we can destroy the Earth. So we are very responsible today. And so this is the time to be aware of this responsibility, and this is holiness, the holistic look at everything that is around us and what is inside us, just to fuse this together in every moment, not to act so quickly, so rapidly as it is modern to achieve some goal more quickly than someone who is competing with us. This competing is a great problem again, because people are doing things so fast, so they don't have time to broaden their outlook. Today in many companies they are introducing so-called social approach. This has become modern, but here we are trying to not to manipulate with these words. We are trying to go very deeply into the origin of these questions, so that we don't introduce these beautiful new methods of cooperation, because in order to be to please other people, to please the employers in the company, maybe other companies, to make good propaganda for my company and so on. So it's a time to do this, because we know that this is the only way to reality. The only way to reality. Otherwise we lose the touch with reality. And we lose everything then. We lose our soul, we lose the possibility to serve other people, to serve other beings. So we are responsible in every moment for this holistic look at the universe.
This point is important in the sense that because the human dimensions have been forgotten, as we have said in the beginning of the session, the essential point, once lost, the action is directionless, meaning it is turning around and around. And this one notion, which is really very important in the East, if not essential, this is the notion of to be aware. You started at the beginning of your contribution there, you said that we have to be aware of what we are doing. This is very, very important in the philosophies of the East, because without being aware, we are like automats. Yeah? Just watch over one day of action. How many actions do we do in automatic way? By habit. We are moving, we don't think, we repeat thought of the others. And many factors will be absolutely conditioning us by advertisement, many ways, with the media, with you can see the signposts everywhere, and it is a kind of always imposing upon our mind thought of the others, and we don't know how to think. We cannot think really if we are always jumping from one thing to another in a hectic way and without being aware. Another point very important that I have noticed is that you have raised it very rightly, this notion of time. Modern technologies compelled us to be more and more speedy, right? 20 years ago, to communicate, we wrote letters, and from Asia to here, it took 3 weeks. I remember when I was in India for 6 months at Adyar, every time I communicated with my family, it would take 2 weeks at least, and then we answered 2 weeks more, meaning that in 1 month we get to the same information. Now it is quasi-instantaneous, by the email, by the telephone, by Skype, etc. So without doing on purpose, we are compelled to be more speedy. It is for sure. Also, means of transportation. You imagine that 50 years ago, I cannot fly within 1 hour and a half to be here with you. So it is and then they are talking about trains in Japan, which will reach more than 500 kilometers per hour. This is the flying train, magnetic flying train. So everything is more speedy, and we are in the middle of it, and we have been the inventors of it, the human mind. So it is like a play of the Lego plays. You see, small. We constructed many things, and we are inside. We cannot get out. It is a very famous cartoon, which is the Snoopy cartoon. It is Linus is a very innocent boy. He constructed, and he was imprisoned inside. And it is the situation of our situation. Now, the notion of time and the speed, the more we compare, the more we get stuck. I think that naturally, normally, things are moving faster and faster because the knowledge, the field of knowledge is more and more enlarged, more and more. And to get to things, we are compared to. Now, to be compared to be more speedy is one thing. But when we take up the situation, we can have a very relaxed attitude. We can be speedy and in a relaxed way, or we are speedy and in a very stress way. Now, we are more speedy in the past. It is undeniable. What is our attitude? This is another question. I would say a few words more between the East and the West. Why is it that it's so speedy here, and in the East they start to be the same? Because technologies would not spare anyone. But up to a certain time, they will take time to relax. I'm not saying about some remote places, for example, or in the big mountains there, people still are very cool and very relaxed. But generally speaking, they are now under the pressure of technologies of the whole world. But now comparing, we can come to this explanation that in the West, throughout all the conditioning of religions and etc., most of people would believe that they have just one life to live. So they have to be more speedy to do whatever, because the end is there and it is not avoidable, and when it is death, then it is nothing to be done more. But in the East, if we don't have time to realize this life, we have other lives. So there's two sides. The one is speedy to do things and sometimes wrong, and the other one's laziness. If I cannot do now, it is tomorrow, it is next life. So we have to combine. The intelligence will try to understand and combine the two things. The East certainly has to be more speedy and keeping the relaxed attitude. And in the West, they can be less speedy and learn to be relaxed also, because this is the crucial point. Don't you think so?
Yes. So the problem is if all these new technologies are our tool, so that they are serving us and that we can use them with full awareness, so that the main, we are concentrated on awareness, to be aware, and these technologies are really a tool that we use when we need them. But another possibility that these technologies enslave us, so that we are a slave to these technologies, and that possibility leads really to nonsense, because then we don't have any more time, and we just lose what this technology could offer us. They could offer us more free time, more possibility for our own awareness. But if we permit that they are leading us, then we just lose what this technology could give us. So this is the problem. If I'm looking at the young people, 10 young people with phones and walking in the street
Yes. Some times ago I have seen through a very ironic cartoon, you see, and according to this ironic cartoon, the next form of human, will be just two thumbs. Just two thumbs. We don't need a brain, we don't need anything, but two thumbs are clicking all the thing. This is the sign of alienation of the mind towards something, and it's a phenomenon is equivalent to addiction. right? Addiction to drugs, addiction to something, and addiction to the playing with electronic devices.
Very serious addiction.
Very, very serious. So coming back to this point of awareness, which is very important, because scientists are lacking awareness, or they are aware of a certain time, but they just cover it. The drive of ambition and the drive of accomplishment, achievement for their own ego at a certain time has grown stronger. So this awareness was put under the carpet. Because I believe that generally speaking, at our time, consciousness has evolved in such a way that the average people would not be able to escape this awareness. They are aware, but they want to cover. Meaning that we all, the humans on earth, we know. And more than that, we know that we know. And it is not like animals. Animals, they know, that's all. They know where to get food, where to get care, where to get shelter, etc. But the human beings know that they know. So it is this self-knowledge which is very important, and it is the starting point to be aware. Meaning awareness is to know that one knows. Yeah? And then everyone is aware from the starting point, unless we are very kind of savage, wild in the forest, just live the relation with the forest and myself, and that's it. There's no self-knowledge. In the forest, one does not need to know that one knows. Just the knowing is enough for the survival. Now in a civilized society, we have this awareness. But then, on the average, I would say, so I have not said that everyone, but on the average, meaning that you and I, everyone, is apt to be aware. How is it that this awareness did not help us so far to work to get out of our prison? This is the main question. How is it? We discuss about it. I'm not going to give you the answer, and you are not going to give me the answer neither, because everyone has to work on it. Do you think that this matter of awareness is the crucial point for humanity now, at our time, to be discovered, to be applied, and above all, not to be denied?
Yes, it is a crucial point. I think that now we have come to such a level of material evolution that we don't need to be any more afraid to succumb to some dangerous natural forces. So we are quite we are not threatened by wild animals, and we have good houses, we have warmth in these houses, we can cultivate our fields very well, and so we all even have all this electricity, all this technology. So this is not the problem in modern times, but we are still working as if we were unthreatened, like we have been in old times, millenniums ago. And we are so busy just to have more and more and more, as if we were hungry all the time. Also, in our society here in Europe, there are very few people who are really hungry. Well, there are many people in the world who are hungry, but they are hungry just because of our greed.
Greed.
Yes, because we, living in the West, are so greedy that we don't permit them to evolve their own possibilities, and we want to have control over them. And
how do you explain this phenomenon?
this is a special kind of ego, very dangerous ego.
Yeah. I think that the human beings, sometimes they become aware, but they cover the awareness, so that they will continue to live with the mentality of animals. Meaning this struggle for survival is still there. We struggle. We don't need to struggle, but by habits, as I said in the beginning, just watch your day and spot out how many actions and activities you would do out of habits. Many, I would say, or most of our activities. And there is no thinking process behind, meaning there is no awareness, so that humanity as a collectivity just continues its trend, like a car. When you cut off the machine, the machinery, the motor, it continues to run. We have to put a brake on it, and the brake is at now. Pause and see for yourself what happens in your life, what happens here. And this pause is absolutely essential for our evolution now, because otherwise the car will run by itself up to exhaustion, and the exhaustion, meaning before it will take all the collectivity in a catastrophe, as you say about the ecology, the weather, everything. Out of greed, we are destroying many things, and the main reason is greed. But behind greed, this is the unawareness of our behavior, and so that as long as we continue to live in a very automatic mode, we cannot save the earth or our own future. Our own future is now placed in our own responsibility to learn and to apply this awareness.
And now it's the high time for this shift, a great shift in our consciousness, to get a new contact with this primordial awareness that is inherent in everyone. High time is because we are like in a car going with very high speed along the road, but now there is a bend. This is this new situation in the world. We have achieved so much on the material level, and if we don't push the brake, then we shall not, the car will not pass through this bend. So it's time to slow the speed of the car.
To pause.
To pause,
to think.
Yes.
And to be aware of things outside and inside.
But there is one great problem. How can this, what we are speaking here now, how can this message come to the leaders of the great companies, of international corporations?
Well, most of them are incurable, so forget about them. I have lost this hope, expectation to save them. They say, I mean that everyone will try to do his or her part, and at a certain point, something is preparing itself. So it is not they will change, but the system will change in such a way that they are compelled to change. Probably they will keep their own greed applied in a new word, but it doesn't matter much.
They may destroy one part of the society,
yes. And anyhow, we cannot save the whole. I mean, everyone has a part to play in responsibility, and at a certain point, it is clear in the future for me that humanity will break into two parts. The one who wants to cooperate with this spirit of awareness, and it will go up and follow and forward, and the other one will stick to the habits and wanting to do the same thing over and over, then that logically, without magics or without any more acute intellectual reasoning, it has to go there. And that point, that we cannot know when, but it will happen. It will happen.
I think that this is already happening. This separation of society into two streams. Maybe there is still a majority that is blind and is going into this blind alley.
We are working to move the majority to some part. It is pure politics. It is not politicians' politics. Okay, and it is the true sense of the term politics, meaning that learning to think together how to administrate the community of humans. I think that our conversation is interesting for some people, but not all. Because I think that some of them are very tired and they can go and sleep over there. Okay, so so the main thing is this awareness. One can ask the question, it is so surprising, how is it that knowing this problem, is this lacking of awareness? Humans do not want to take another step.
I think that most of humans, they are aware from time to time, but then they would have to put quite a lot of energy to clear the way, to find the way in which one could act sincerely according to one's real belief. But this needs quite a great amount of energy. And people are tired, they come home from their job, they just sit in front of TV and then they click the programs, they send some messages. So this is this automatic way of functioning. If I had power, I would like to have these people, because I know how they are tired, how from time to time...
leave them, because it is fun. We can see it is fun, but leave them the possibility to have this effort, because if you have the power to transform, where is the merit? We have to earn our merit, you see. All what is spiritual is based on the notion of effort. I will not have them in this way, but sharing in this to get to the interest, and then they will move themselves. It is good, but how many people came here by interest? You see, but it is not the number that counts, because everything is on the consciousness, and when you understand something, you help the others to understand. You know that it is not you who understand only. No, because you bring the light to this dimension of consciousness, and the people are automatically helped by your effort. And the more we have enlarged the number, we will ease the way for more people. This is the what happens, the process of sharing. It is that one. Otherwise, if we say, here we are less than 30, what is the impact? I believe in this. Because consciousness is one, the mind is one. When we talk here, you are following it up with us, you are thinking with us. So the mind is functioning, in life here. So it is for me, it is full of hope for the future. If we start this working, functioning, and if everyone in this audience is keeping this pace, it is like what we call a drop of oil, and going and larger and larger and larger. Yesterday we talked about mercury. You see, every drop of mercury we gather and make the mass of mercury. This is the whole process. sorry to put a brake on your very good willingness to help people with your power.
No, I said that I don't have this power, but you said much, much better. So what we
This is
can,
just my opinion, my point of view.
what we can really contribute is this evolution of universal consciousness. We should not put our striving, our energy into the life of those people who are sitting in front of TVs.
Yes.
But there is some universal consciousness which can be seen by everyone, also by those sitting at TV.
Yes.
Yes, so
when we talk here and when we look at people, you see this clarity, this light in the eyes. You can somewhere. We're not talking to individuals. There's somewhere it is a meeting point common to everyone, and we think that we can contribute by sharing our understanding to that, and that everyone can get there with a goodwill, with attention to get out understanding. You see, and this for me is tremendous. We are not doing a very big job because the nature of things is such. Meaning consciousness is one, the mind is one. We just be aware of it and we share, and then it is up there, and then people who want to understand, they will get understanding. Then they have to apply, because understanding once is not enough. Everyone can understand once. And after that, what? I mean, coming home, the old habits continue to do things, and then it is like a dream. So this is, we put up the dream of seers, of people flying in the sky, in the clouds, and they are seers, etc. But life is here, and life is ours to do something. I think that it is the position of being powerful when we can participate in this awareness of consciousness one.
So it is there, it is here.
Yeah, it is already there.
And we cannot push other people
No.
to take it in this
No.
one, because it happens in the life of this one or that one at a
Yes.
certain moment when
Yes.
one is prepared
Yes.
to understand
Yes.
the
Yes.
message.
But they have to prepare also, because the soil, without being prepared, cannot have plants to grow. You see, and very, very, very often, I recall this poem from a Sufi poet. He said, "All of you are like thirsty fish, swimming in the water but feeling thirsty," meaning that we are surrounded by this one consciousness, which is the divine, which is the whatever we call. We can call it God if you feel like, but I don't like very much this word. We are surrounded. We are this also, because we are just crystallization of things forming it, and we are claiming that we are thirsty about meaning the fish. Yeah, it is mine. Sorry very much. I have forgotten to cut it. Now I cut it. It's so easy to do, huh? So we are. Yes, a little bit of oxygen will give us good. is it that most of humans do not like effort?
They don't like effort, but in the end, because they don't like effort, they get blind, and they must take on even greater effort. They must be busy all the time just because they somehow escape the effort in the right place. So
that I have been taught during my childhood. If you don't do the effort now, next life you have to do more effort, and it is harder. So being afraid of being compelled to do harder, just do it now. And it is a kind of learning, become a second nature. But effort gives the merit to a person. There is no life without effort.
And this is important in every moment, because now we are speaking about some things that may sound abstract, but they are very real when they are implemented in everyday practice. This is part of everything that we are doing. And so there is quite a lot of effort to be done in all in everything, because modern life has become so complicated. We have so many things that should be somehow put together. There's not only 3 or 10 things, but there are hundreds of things that we must do every day. And how to combine all this so that we are still sincere, and so that we are still aware of what we are doing, and that we know that this what is going on and in which we participate is that thing that we can believe. So effort is a right kind of effort is necessary. Right kind of effort everyone. This is not that kind of effort like the sportsmen are doing, putting energy into only one direction. But this is effort just to be conscious, to be aware, to be just to carefully observe what is going on in every detail in us, outside of us, and to manage things so that everything is in harmony. But not in that passive harmony, but in that kind of harmony that every being can sing its own poem in the best way too. So it's not some passive philosophy or like that. It's activity in every moment.
What is effort? Effort, as you said here, is not the effort in the one direction to accomplish, to achieve a special act, like a sportsman. Despite the fact that it is also effort for him to get somewhere, to reduce the time and to be more speedy.
But he knows very well where is the goal and what are the rules to get to the goal. But in holistic way of functioning, we don't know even where is the goal. We don't know the rules, because these are every moment it is new. It's not so simple.
We at the beginning we do know we want to get out of our prison. Yeah, and after that we can go a little bit further. It is to be completely in the now. But one cannot jump at without being aware at the first place to jump into this awareness of the now. I mean that I am not now making the apology for progressive evolution. It is evolution is both, okay? Same, progressive and sudden. It is a polemic for many generations of thinkers, but we are not going to separate because of our dualistic mind. They are both. So no polemic about this. But then, at the beginning, one cannot ask someone else to be aware of the now at once. People have to learn to be aware of their doing, be confronted with their own doing, and also have this confrontation whenever they are absolutely true to themselves. We talked about yesterday about integrity of people. I am very sure that when people lie, they know that they lie. In a fraction of a second, they know. And then, very short, very brief, they cover it. But we are in the position of really, we are capable of being aware of our action, our thinking, our attitude in mind. So the effort is to see this. The effort, if there is no aim, then we demand perhaps too much to the people who want to learn to be aware. All the disciples who would come to learn Zen philosophy or something, they start from the beginning, meaning that at the beginning of somebody who is very, very acquainted with things is not the same than the beginning of somebody who's still in prison, in a very trivial way, I would say. The prison changed. Prison of people are now in prison in the habits, their own habits. They're not aware. They repeat. The prison of the disciple is to come to learn, is to be aware of the fundamental ignorance. It is quite different, I think, because they have passed through many types of experience to come to the main question. So the effort at the beginning, there is an aim, how to get out of the prison. And the prison is the habit. Yeah? And out of some time of practice, certainly this is element of suddenness which will come, and probably it is the call from eternity. This is the now. It is quite a different time in the evolution of consciousness of somebody, of a human being, and it is unavoidable. But unavoidable in the sense that one has to start somewhere. Otherwise, if there is no start, the process cannot begin somewhere. Do you think so?
Yes. So it's really good, and one can be really happy if one is at the point where one can start.
Yes.
So, but there are so many people whose habit has become to lie.
Yes.
So because they are in a social position, that they have some power, and
they know that they are lying, and they continue to keep their power.
But this lying has become such a habit to them that they forget that they are lying.
I think they know that they are lying in the sense that they are lying for the good of the others. But they don't say that it is the truth. You see, the mind is very cunning. They know that we have, and they say this is the truth. It is the truth for all of us, and it is for your good. You people, you have voted for me, so it is the good for everything. But at the fundamental level, they know that they are lying. But the trend of keeping the power, the trend of keeping properties, this thing is stronger.
So this is not only the problem of sincerity, it's also the problem of courage.
Yes. Yes.
One needs
absolutely.
Also courage.
Yes. Integrity. Integrity includes courage.
Yes.
Courage to see things as they are, but not make things up to show in another way.
So this is the right kind of courage. The main courage is not to be the best soldier, to kill so many enemies. This is
Yes.
very obsolete.
Yes.
The right kind
Obsolete.
of courage is here in this very subtle level.
Yes.
This is the real courage. So there are heroes in literature who show their courage by being a great hero,
Yes.
leader of an army, but this was maybe courage thousands of years ago. In
Stop
old
the
times.
desire to be a hero. Stop
Yes.
the desire to be a hero.
Real courage is very subtly in everyone inside. Courage of the heart. So all these elements are necessary to awaken courage, sincerity, to stand at the point to be aware,
Yes.
and then to work on all the time.
Yes. Move on. Move on. Everything is moving in the universe. There's nothing
Yes, yes.
static. Nothing. So, why is it that one wants to be at the same point all the time?
Laziness.
It is the need to feel secure.
Yeah.
But security in the whole universe is just a ghost. It is a myth.
Yes, yes.
And security is a myth. Insecurity also is a myth, because it is the opposite. So, when we feel that these two things, security and insecurity, psychologically, are just myths, we have conquered fear. Yeah. Why we need security? Because we are fearing, right? And I think that all dictatorship based his or her action on the fear of the people.
Hitler, he was quite a lot abused in his childhood, and then he developed a great feeling of hatred and revenge, a feeling of revenge inside. And when the moment in Germany after the first Great War came, when the Germans, they were humiliated because they lost the war, and so Hitler was the right person so that the whole nation could canalize their hatred through one person who was at the top.
Well, you see, it is the historical individual who brought a lot of misery. But at our time, there are so many little Hitlers.
Yeah.
Small, bigger. They want to play
We have
this
in
play of
Slovenia.
dictator, but claiming for democracy, claiming for, saying the reverse of the intention. And this is absolutely lack of integrity. And I assure you that they have absolutely the capacity to be aware that they are lying. Yeah. The only thing is to cover and go the way for manipulation. Otherwise, it is more hopeless that they are not aware. I think that there is more hope that they are aware, but they cover, meaning that they are aware, meaning that they have the possibility to be aware and not cover one day through courage, true courage.
But they lose even this possibility when they have many followers who want that he's lying.
Yes, absolutely. Next to Hitler, there are many things. You all the names and little.
Then he's entrapped into this circle around, and he must continue.
And what is the end? At the end is everybody kill themselves. Himself, the whole family, etc., etc. It is a big tragedy. But it is like that. One, by ambition, one can do much harm. Yes, and telling story for themselves, to oneself, saying I'm doing the good thing, I'm doing it for the good of the people, etc., etc. That's so integrity for oneself is really essential. Okay. Oh, in many points we agree upon this, and it is a good thing because we don't discuss to agree in advance. We do not have any arrangement. Right? Can we have a break now? Then it is just 1 hour.
Talk about the motives, the honesty, and about, on the other hand, there is no safety as well. So that there is either not safety and insafety. So if you combine those two things, when you want to go ahead and have an issue and problem to solve, I usually search for honest motive, and I don't know, don't understand what I want to ask. So there are, when there is a decision, and most of decisions are made based on fear. So, but we know that when decisions are done on fear, it's not so good. But so when you're trying to find an honest motive, at the end, it looks like that everything is good at the end. What do you think about that?
I cannot understand really the last part of your contribution there. You mean that at the end it is all good?
Yeah, because I don't know. Anyway, we are stuck here in a prison. So our fears are based on that we need to pay some bills, that we need to pay for electricity, so on. And when you have a decision either to move to the left side or to the right side, there is something telling you be careful. But you know that good motive, it's somewhere else. If you want to go ahead,
yes,
you need to find better chance, better choice.
This is the situation of a human. This is the human situation, is it?
Yeah.
I think that all of us will go through this process one day or another. And when I said that security is a ghost and same insecurity is the same because it's opposite. I was not talking about the security, for example, with criminality. I'm not talking about this. I talk about the security on the psychological level. And most of people are struggling for survival because of fear and because of desire for security, meaning out of the feeling of insecurity that they struggle. If they were good from inside, harmonious, without greed, because this is the main problem of humans. It is not a sin, but it is a problem we have to solve. Because our task is to solve this problem, because it is the leftover of the animal kingdom. We have to understand that. So, all of us are seeking for security. Psychological, still, I insist upon it. But this security cannot exist. Because when we seek security, we seek out of fear. And as long as fear exists in the mind, we never get to security. We feel always in insecurity. And we continue the trend again, over and over to struggle for survival. Then we don't need, meaning, as our friend Andrej Detela said, it is over this time. It is over with the animal kingdom. We don't have to struggle, okay? But we are wearing the inheritance of the animal kingdom with fear, with the struggle for survival, and without this awareness of our real capacity of thinking, we would go over and over again and again, repeating the same scheme, and by habit. By habit, we are fearing. By habit, we are looking for security. By habit, we are struggling for survival. If we pause, we say, what is the situation now? What is the situation? And very, very often, we found out that, of course, everyone has to work to earn the bread, if we can say. To pay electricity, the bills, of course, it goes without saying. Nobody will pay your bills. It is like that because they have their own bills to pay. So you have to do it, but you can do it in one attitude or in another. You can do it as an obligation because you have to be autonomous, independent. It is a must. There is nothing to complain about it. Unless there is too much exaggeration from the company of electricity, you protest. But paying the bill is normal. Everyone is paying a bill in the human society. So there's nothing to say about it. But paying the bill with tranquility, you earn what you are earning, you pay it. And as a very often human beings also like to save some money. It is normal. For some need in the future, emergency, it is normal. It is not greed. Greed is one, you want to earn more than you need. Because you feel like a kind of you feel excited to get more. Yeah, you get excited to get more. This is greed. Can do it quietly. I mean that knowing that all the actions seeking for security or trying to flee from insecurity, all the actions are based on fear. Explore it, understand it, and you will get to freedom.
To find the real trust.
Yes, in some way. Not the ultimate freedom, but freedom from many things. Freedom from your fear first.
So if we look at our society, maybe for last 2000 or even more years, it is the society is organized based on the hierarchical principle. So there are people at the top which do decide and somehow manage our life. And if in the future we somehow it happened that this shift of consciousness really happens, and maybe the society will split into different, let's say, civilizations. What do you think would be, what is your opinion about the possible way of organizing this, let's say, new civilization based on this, let's say, consciousness, awareness, without fear, without need for security? What do you think it could be?
Well, now there are already quite a lot of experiments in this direction. So some studies have shown that in Western Europe there are more than 20% of people who are already dedicated to this non-hierarchical society. They're called social creatives. So if we divide the Western society into three parts, one part is conservatives, another is liberals. The third one, which is getting stronger and stronger, is the so-called social creatives, which don't believe anymore in hierarchically organized society, because hierarchical society, they always are based on the fact that one is above, others are below, so there is also abusing of those who are below. I think that it's not yet clear how this new society would be organized. So there are a lot of experiments. So this is more on horizontal level, because there is no this vertical hierarchy anymore. Sometimes there is a lot of confusion also because people don't know who is important, who is not. There's only one at the top. Then the one is like a cardinal information for the whole society. One information is giving orders to, so seemingly it works better, or it worked better. So this is the fact, the reason why so many people vote for such authorities. But this is only some seeming impression. When this is dismissed, then all the individuals, all the beings are equally important, and it's a little more difficult to organize this complex society that it would work in harmony. So harmony is a crucial idea here. Harmony within all this complex society, so that there is some synchronicity between actions of different individuals, and so that they are not in conflict one with another. I think that in the last few decades there are an enormous amount of studies in this direction, how to achieve this new goal. This is something extremely important now, because we must in very quite short time, I think, in few decades maybe, because it's such a tremendous shift in consciousness now. We are trying to find this new kind of society. So the experiments that are now done in Europe, in America, in Australia, in many countries, in also Africa, Asia. So, for instance, these are the so-called eco-villages, for instance, and other experiments of this kind. So they are very different, these experiments. Each one is different. Each experiment is somehow led by some influential person. A person who has special charisma, and this is why these experiments are so different. Again, there is someone who is giving idea to others. But these new societies, they are still trying to have this so that they are not hierarchically organized. So they have, all of them, they have very frequent meetings of all the members of the community, so that we know here we have elections only once in 4 years, so this is not the way to organize society of the new kind. So. There should be a lot of communication. This is the basic point. A lot of communication among people in this kind of emergent society, and not all of them, but one part of these new societies are based on spirituality. Some of them are based on so that the first stress is with some on ecology. With another kind of this society, the first stress is on social relations, new kind of social relation, and the third kind of this society is have the first stress on spirituality. I have visited several societies of this kind in the world, and I have seen these three possibilities. So maybe it would be good to fuse these three possibilities together, because all of them are important.
And what do you think, maybe just to add to this question, about the responsibility of people? Because the hierarchical system is based on the fact that we relay our personal responsibility usually to a leader. So this new type of let's say organization should go together with our better or
this
responsibility not just for ourselves, probably for others as well.
So here the responsibility is more dispersed, so that each one takes his or her own responsibility. Each one has a certain role in the society. For instance, one is very good in gardening, for instance, and he loves gardening, and he or she is proud to make the best flowers for everyone in the society. So she is responsible for this. And so I think that the main problem is that there is not someone who is much more responsible than others. Because if there is someone who has some special position, that's already the beginning of this separation and ideology. So in this point, ideologies can be born, and this may be quite a problem.
I can add a few things.
Yes,
It's just very, very clarifying your talk here. I remember in 80s, 90s, they have tried a kind of experience in some business societies. Trial experience called the self-management system, meaning there is no leader, it's just a group of working people try to manage the thing. I think that it is very rare. There is a success. Some of them can survive. Then, why it does not succeed? I'm asking my question because it is very fine and fair in the way of thinking that it did not succeed. Why? I think that the reason is that the people who are involved in this adventure, they have not gone through to change the paradigm of the thinking. They just want to change on the very superficial level, meaning abolish the power, abolish the difference of the thing. You cannot abolish the differences. You are born equal in front of God, but you are different. Okay? Well, you cannot deny it, because some people are more intelligent, some people are more beautiful, but we are talking about consciousness. We are different. When we say better, more intelligent, there is a comparison coming. We should not go into comparison. This is a starting of the problem. But we cannot deny that there is a difference. Otherwise, we are stubborn people. We say we want to be equal, everyone equal. Impossible. It is not even utopia. It is absurd. Because evolution can be led by utopia, but not by absurdity. Yeah? Okay. So, experience has been made. I think that philosophically, there is a very good author, Karl Popper, The Open Society. He has volumes about this. But the main thing is that we can live in a society without an organization based on hierarchy. And yet, the hierarchy you are using here as a terminology is very traditional and classical. Because hierarchy in the true sense of the term, no one can avoid it, because it is the order of the universe. It is a big paradox. You cannot deny the order of the universe, but yet one has to learn to use it with wisdom and not base this on this order to make the ego blow, or to make to earn authority, power on it. We cannot deny that there is hierarchy in the universe. Every planet cannot be a sun. Every sun cannot be a supernova. I mean, it is, everything has a... So, no, we should not compare, but the model itself cannot be shifted or disturbed. We are living in the system. Probably there is another system completely chaotic without anything. Maybe, but we are now here. So I think the main thing is not to abolish hierarchy. The main thing is how to make use of it in a wise way, so that there is a kind of the notion of sharing. For me is very important. On the top, if there is some care for sharing, there will be no problem. The problem comes from the top, want to take everything and not to share. Meaning that the hierarchy here, the idea and the meaning of hierarchy is absolutely corrupted from the beginning. So it is not the hierarchy that should be abolished, but how we can apply it, applying our own intelligence to make it fair, workable, and evolutional for everyone. Because just look at our own body. The stomach cannot fulfill the role of the brain. They say, I don't want the difference, the stomach wants to be the brain. And the brain say, out of democracy, I want to be the stomach. It is absurd. I don't say by this way that we need a leader. The leader by himself or herself, the notion of leader is a natural, a self-established thing, but not a leader coming by ambition. You cannot see a group. There is, unavoidably, you have somebody who has a talent to lead. You see? And you cannot avoid saying, I don't want leader. So everyone is okay, floating, and then no leading, nothing. No. Taking the job of the leader is taking a big responsibility, meaning the forgetfulness of oneself. I go there, I take the responsibility, not that I want to be a leader, but by the capacity I have to do it because nobody wants to do it, I do it, but forget about it. There is nothing for the ego to be nourished out of this.
I agree.
Yeah. Very often we agree. That's good.
Just a few words. Maybe we also don't know how we could manage in a different way such communities or such self-governed communities or whatever. We still think to use or to adopt this traditional hierarchical type of leading or managing the society or the community, and to somehow disperse this responsibility among more people, to have some kind of shared leadership there. But maybe it should be to discover how the society can function in a different manner, which actually functions and the roles should be fulfilled so that the community functions in a somehow different manner. I still think that we use this still traditional way of hierarchical model to actually adopt it there, but not really trying to find some new way or some new approach of managing the society?
I think that we have very, very good luck to have the democracy. If you have lived in some part of other worlds, you may be put in prison just because of some unhappy word, sentence even to death, if you are in a very rough country. We are very lucky to have this. It is not the best model, but it is the least bad system that we have found. Now, democracy has a weakness. Out of the principle of equality, everyone has one vote. Just as I said a while ago, we are different. We are different, right? And the vote is identical. I mean, you have the citizenship, you have one vote, despite the fact that you are certainly more intelligent than someone, more thoughtful, less manipulated, but you have one. This is the weakness of the system. Now, if we change the system, the voting not by suffrage universal, we have what we call the college of great electors in the United States. We cannot go into an idealistic vote neither, because it is also apt to be corrupted. Well, everybody knows that George Bush, the son, has been voted president, but Al Gore had more votes. Everyone knows. It is the weakness of the system again. Now what to do? You cannot go by reform, another reform, because the paradigm was not changed. The paradigm meaning the absolute universal model. You don't change the model. The model is democracy. Everywhere you vote, you change there. Either you vote at that level or you make a college of superior voters. It is the same. How to do then? How to do? The doing there, it had to be changed in the sense that we have to change the paradigm, meaning that certainly a leader can be used, but the choice of the leader should not be by vote. Now, how to deal with it now? Because so far we vote to have a leader, okay? And out of this, manipulation, etc. The hierarchy cannot be avoided. We cannot, because it is the motor, the engine to draw the whole thing upward or forward. How to choose? How to choose? Now, you see, it is not a model. Don't take it as I cited for you for a model. In Switzerland, they vote every Sunday. For the administration of the city, they vote. They vote for small things. Do you yes or no? You want this? Yes or no? And the people decided on the thing, on the local level. Now on the upper side, how to deal with the upper side then? It is now very, very often, it is corrupted. Very often, I don't say everywhere. I leave some hope for people to hope. Now I think that the people in the country has to react. Very, very often, the population of a country is very, very lethargic. They complain, but they don't act. They complain, and what is the result of the complaint? Nothing. Nothing. I mean that, you see, even for very trivial things. They are now in Europe, they're imported now, the class action. You know the word class action, meaning that people gather together, have a community and bring it to the law. Normally, in democracy, if you have deputies, you can use it. You can make a petition and bring the petition to the deputy. It is a small level, but somebody have to start to make things change. Nothing will move if you just complain. Meaning that everyone has to start to think dynamically for the good of the community, and it is not to criticize the leaders, but not here. We are a model, please examine it. And it is like that also in some part of France. You see, they consult, and then a group of people come to see the deputy, and then it has to be done. It has to be done by somebody. And this somebody has to be a little bit forgetting oneself, because it is working for nothing. Nothing meaning not for money, not for fame, but no salary, but for the good of the community. This is the true sense of the term politics. What is politics? Plato defined it as the administration of the city. It is not a profession. It was not a profession. It is everyone coming together and making the life of the city better. And it turned out with the time that there is a profession, etc. But normally it is not. Every political man, they have all a profession, an earning profession to make their life. And all that, they don't have a salary. They have what they call allowance. It is absolutely logical, because they are to pay the expenses for the service. It is not the salary. It is on the basis of things. It is logical. It is all true. So you have to base on this to act, and not to complain. You see, I have many times I have heard people complaining, etc., and depressed, etc. Do something. Don't sit on your chair and just say, You understand what I mean? Not a rebellion. It is, sorry, I should not do it in the sense that it is, because it does not have any results. It will make the reverse as a boomerang towards you. Because you are wishing the good for the community, not to make a rebellion.
Just maybe also in this connection, that when you have some self-sufficient community, in a certain sense, or there is a vision of getting to that point, or to that type of organization of the society, then yes, probably you will have to have some administration, well, not really administration, but someone who cares for the larger situation. Now, I think that the problem is how much power you transfer to this person, or how much control over society is transferred to these upper levels. So there is really not much need to transfer so much there. Maybe yes, care about the public good.
Now, the next question to be asked at once is, who are you to want to transform the whole society? You alone, you cannot speak. You speak for yourself.
Sure.
If you want to transform the society, you have colleagues thinking as you think, to be taken seriously. And it is the fact, it is logical. If you want to go to see your deputy alone, and you say it is that, the deputy will laugh at you. But politely, you say, oh, you are idealistic, etc. Make a community before speaking. Otherwise you will be crushed as anything.
No,
It is the logic one, the only logic.
Well, we are talking about the possibility. Magda has opened a question about
Yes.
that's how we can
Yes,
vision
and
that.
I
how
go a
can-
little bit further. I go a bit further, meaning in democracy we have means to act. First, don't stay at home and complain. If you want to act, act intelligently, not alone. Because the next question is, who are you to come and give lessons to deputies? Now, if I happen to be a deputy, I will ask the question, who are you? You are the mouthpiece of whom? Yourself? Okay, I will note and put it on my agenda, full stop, and nothing happened. It is very logical. Because as a deputy, I have also obligations. I have the obligation to listen to a group of people wearing an opinion, but not one. You understand what I mean? This is to clarify the means of action if you want to lead your action somewhere. Otherwise, you're going to crash against the wall, for sure. Don't start if you don't be sure that you are heard. I'm clear enough, I think. It doesn't mean that you turn into a coward, but be intelligent before action. Courage we have talked about here. We need to be courageous. We need to have integrity. And as to action, well, okay. Anything else? Or enough for the morning? So we can postpone, Mr. Detela? Yeah. Okay.